Before we get started with the video, I want to say that this video is absolutely sponsored by Teej Hanley. 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. That link is in the description. Ladies, get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. It's absolutely a phenomenal product, and I would never advocate for a product that I don't use myself. So shout out to Teej Hanley. We appreciate you for continuing to sponsor the stream. Also, on top of that, make sure you tap into the Patreon. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. We absolutely doing a meetup in Houston on the 27th of July, and I'm posting those details today. Let's get into the video, y'all.
So I don't date American black men. I have never dated an American black man, and my reasons are quite simple. So a few days ago, I made a video about coffee dates, and I basically talked about how I would never accept a coffee date as a first date. I think it's low effort, and it's just not my thing. Surprisingly enough, and I was genuinely surprised, 98% of the commenters and the people that were upset were American black men. So shocked because I didn't think that video would land on their For You page, but it did, and hundreds of them, hundreds, were crying on my shoulder over the fact that I would not drink bean juice on a first date with a man or with anyone. They were in my comments calling me all types of names, saying that I'm a gold digger and saying that I'm this and that, and then unprovoked, they started attacking me for my looks. By the way, I was so nice in that video. I did not insult anyone in that video, but they were insulting me.
I will say that the internet is vicious. I didn't see the original video. Y'all sent this to me to react to, and I'm always going to link back to the content creator in the description, regardless of whether or not I agree with them or not. But I will say that once you put yourself out there online, especially on Instagram and TikTok, it is vicious. And so on one hand, I could say, well, that's what happens when you decide to give your opinion online. On the flip side, I gotta stick with her and I gotta actually be in her corner so far in this video, a minute in, because from the looks of it, she seems like a very non-confrontational person. Now, this is the problem that I have with the internet, but it's no way that we can control it, so we gotta know what we're getting ourselves into. The other side of it is that she's non-confrontational. The attacks is unprovoked. And so it's difficult for people to stay on track. Because you have such a wide range of people that can say and do whatever it is that they want to do whenever they want to do it, a lot of times it gets messy inside of this whole thing because you have people that are extreme, and it could be a small minority of people that got the loudest voices, and then they'll go completely off subject. So instead of you disagreeing, because I believe it's a way that we can disagree without attacking. You can speak to the argument, you can speak to the point, and I'm really working every single day when I'm getting these videos, and when you guys send me these videos, to be careful to speak to the talking points of what the person is speaking to, and not necessarily go into, unless they're using themselves as an example, go into the person itself. But communication is key, and so you got to take into consideration every single thing that they're saying. But if a person is pretty non-confrontational, but they got a difference of opinion in you, you shouldn't just attack them. Like, you shouldn't go in on crazy stuff about them. Speak to the talking point. So I don't disagree with her in that, yo, you may have a disagreement with her, but that don't mean that you got to attack her looks or say that she a gold digger. That's pretty crazy.
Coming at me for my skin color, saying that I'm too dark and that I shouldn't have any standards. They were coming at me for my Afrocentric features. They were coming at me because I have an Afrocentric hairstyle in. Black American men honestly have this habit of attacking black women for the way that they look, especially if you are a darker skinned woman or you have more Afrocentric features, they will attack you. So the fact that they came at me for my looks unprovoked is not surprising to me at all. So reading the comments and watching the stitches, it brought up a discussion between me and my parents about why I don't date American black men. American black men generally do not value courtship, traditionalism, or even marriage. And I'm not saying that all American black men are like this, but a large majority are. They will berate you, break you down, and take advantage of you. I don't know why, but the sight of seeing a black woman, a dark-skinned black woman, having standards really does bother them.
She's right and she's wrong. On one hand, absolutely colorism is a real thing. 100% colorism is a real thing. We do go by the same thing that they go by all across the world. And in a lot of places, it's the European beauty standard. That's just the facts. And so, but using that and leveraging that against the person because they having a conversation about something that has nothing to do with colorism is egregious. It's 100%. The part that she's wrong about, she's right about that. The part that she's wrong about is that Black American men fit this narrative or this stereotype because she may be experiencing a small minority of people that is sharing and passing the video around. And that's the part that I do hate about this internet is that, a small, very small, we don't go by data, we don't go by statistics, a very small group of people can then be the representation of a lot of us. Fair enough, because stereotypes do exist, and I will acknowledge that. On the flip side, I will not say that most Black men, most Black American men, fit the narrative and the stereotype that she's trying to frame. Most Black men are in their children's lives. They do want to get married. They don't want to be used. They don't want to be finessed. And so when we see women express this same talking point, because we've heard this a lot of times before, when we see women express the same talking point, it could be difficult for people that don't control their emotions to be able to separate the person from the point. Let me say that again. It could be difficult for people to be able to separate their emotions from it's incels out here in these streets. And then it's also people that understand the nature of women as red-pilled, and red-pilled don't necessarily mean that that's a bad thing. It means that they're aware of the nature of most women. And most women are single baby mamas. Most women are looking to use men. A lot of men have gone through child support issues and things like that. Does that mean that she needs to be attacked based off of the color of her skin or how dark she is? Absolutely not. Or her Afrocentric features? No. But then at the same time, I think that the stereotype around Black American men is a falsehood. Because if we're going to use that and we're going to leverage that as our talking point, then we got to understand that white men are going through the same thing. Asian men are going through the same thing. White men are the ones that we leapfrogged off of first to even be able to have these conversations because they're the ones that started going through it and suffering through it, especially in family court. We don't want to update family court laws and all of that. So I think that that's a narrative that's false. If you're going to say you don't want to date Black American men, then I would say that that applies to most American men because it's Western culture all across the board. Black women are gold diggers. White women are gold diggers. Black women are good women. White women are good women. It's good women and bad women, but more importantly, the dating pool is piss. But I don't think it deserves an unprovoked attack against her looks and her color because that's not even something that she can control.
Maybe it's because in their mind, nobody ever talks about this, but they believe Black women, dark-skinned Black women deserve crumbs. Colorism is real, and they think that we deserve crumbs and that we shouldn't have any standards. I mean, I was getting so many messages and comments saying, you're dark-skinned, why do you have all these standards? The only reason why that video got them really upset was because it basically told them to do better. And they do not take well at all to being told to do better, as you can clearly see, and it's because they are not required to. They are used to giving women nothing, giving women crumbs, but then receiving the world back. So when they were watching my video...
Where? Who? Who, what, when, where, why, and how? Black men are the ones that suffer. Let me let her finish.
They were so upset. They were like, oh, no. You want me to take you on a proper date? A proper date when all I'm used to is inviting women back to my house or inviting women on a nature walk as a first date or inviting women to my car to link and smoke? You want me to actually put in effort? No, I'm not used to that at all. They're literally in my comments saying, what makes you think you deserve a meal? You need to prove yourself. And when American Black men say that you need to prove yourself, that just basically means you need to go through hell and back with him. They don't want to put in the effort because they're lazy, they are entitled, and they are cheap. And don't get me wrong, it's not all American Black men that are like this. It's just the large majority. And that is a problem because the majority of Black American women prefer Black American men.
And they don't meet the standards. Let's be clear. The women of yesteryear the nature of women is still the same. But I think that it's gotten exponentially worse because if we want to talk about courting for marriage, which I would have to say is completely unrelated to her, but she's going off on a tangent about men, Black American men in general. I would say that women don't meet the criteria, and it's easy to say, okay, well, I don't have to take you nowhere because you're not a wife. And we able to differentiate between the difference of a woman that's for the streets and a woman that's a wife. Anyways, I'm curious as to what y'all think. Let me know inside of the comments. Again, I always like to link back to the content creator. Make sure y'all getting that T Hanley. Tap into the Patreon, man. It's a lot of game. We got Stock Club on Thursday. It's going to be lit. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let me know what's happening inside of the comments, man. I love y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.